back to Monday Night Politics. Tonight we have with us candidates for Dallas County Clerk. And we have with us the incumbent, Mr. John Warren, and one challenger of two scheduled to be here, Mr. Marcus Turner Jr. We noted that tonight's forum that had the DA's office and the county judge and the office gets pretty esoteric. Folk don't know what you do. So I know that you have to explain often, Mr. Warren, that just what it is that the Dallas County Clerk does. So in your opening statement for 2 minutes, give us some idea of what the role of the county clerk is and your opening statement.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Ms. Belt, I thank you for this opportunity, and Dallas Examiner for allowing us to be here. And as our moderator said, to explain, to educate the voters on what, in this instance, the county clerk's office does. In short, the county clerk's office serves as the custodian of records for Dallas County's records. Coincidentally, this evening, you had the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. You had the Dallas County Judge's Office, and you also have the District Clerk's Office. The County Clerk's Office is the most diverse the most diverse department in the county, in that not only am I the clerk of court, I'm also the recorder of deeds, I'm also the local registrar for vital records, and I'm also the 6th member of the Commissioner's Court. A lot of people think it's only the county judge and the 4 commissioners, but I serve as the ex officio member of the Commissioner's Court. The role of the county clerk, as I said, is a custodian of records. That means that there has to be someone who's not a party to any of those instances, whether it's a court proceeding, a commissioner's court proceeding, and I am responsible for maintaining those records as the Texas Constitution says, proper and in order. And so I operate in a sphere of authority that no other elected official can interfere for the purpose of making sure that the citizens of the county can trust and have integrity in the records that I maintain. That's the role of the county clerk. If I can go into why I'm running for re-election, I ran in 2006 and was elected in 2007 on a platform of creating a virtual office. I see county government as a business, not as a government. And if you look at businesses are always incorporating new technology so that they can be more efficient. As a result, that's what I've done. That was my commitment. And as a result, I've received a number of firsts. I was the first county clerk in the state of Texas out of 254 counties to have a paperless office. I was the first county clerk in the state of Texas who had all of their records. Dallas County was established in 1846. All of our records from 1846 to current have been digitized.
Outstanding.
Yep, time is up.
All right. Mr. Turner, you are running to change the office of Dallas County Clerk.
Yes.
Your opening statement, sir. 2 minutes.
Right. Hello, everyone. I am Marcus Turner Jr. from DeSoto, Texas. Graduated from David W. Carter. Also graduated from Jarvis Christian College with a Bachelor's of Business Administration, and currently at University of North Texas at Dallas studying public leadership. For the last 8 to 10 years, I've been within the county. Over that time, what I've seen is little changes that we can make. I've taken note of those changes. I've really prepared myself from this day. I'm from this county. I'm willing and ready to go ahead and lead the county clerk's office. And I ask for you to support me in my journey to do so. What I'm looking to do is bring new leadership to Dallas County for the future. When I say the future, what I'm talking about is from now and the next 20 years. I'm the only candidate in this race who I feel like can lead you to that next 20 years. And I'm asking you to give me that opportunity. Thank you.
Mr. Warren noted that the technological changes that he's brought to the office. We have questions that come in from listeners to our viewers tonight. Says, well, what do you do about mortgage fraud? There are a lot of fraudulent deeds being recorded. I don't know if that's the facts or not, but what would you do in the event that someone presented a document to you? He talked about the integrity necessary for holding those documents, and it would turn out to be a fraudulent document.
Yes. As it pertains to fraudulent documents, what you have to do is you want to do your research. What we don't want to do is get hasty and, go ahead and throw out answers that sound good. We want to do our research. We want to talk to everybody who's educated on this subject, and we want to send it to a system so we can thoroughly identify where this document came from, what is it intended for, and if it is in fact fraudulent. So those are the steps I'll be taking. And obviously, if I do get in that position, that's something that we'll be looking not only for me to expand, but me to take it to another level as for what Mr. Warren already has it right now.
Very good.
Yeah.
Mr. Warren? Fraudulent deeds being recorded. Can we get business registration, DBA name done online?
As it relates to fraudulent deeds, local government code chapter 51 states that we are required to accept a document for recording. That's what my office does. However, one of the things that I've done as it relates to addressing the issue of property fraud, which is very high, I put in a system. I pay for it. It's free to the public. All the thing the public has to do is go online and subscribe to my property fraud alert system. One of the things that I've also done is work with the district attorney's office to restrict the way documents are filed. Sometimes they are not filed. When it says proper, that they should have a notary public sign off on the document. But if you've paid attention to the stories on that Tanya Iser did on the news, a lot of the notary publics participate in the fraud. So that means that no matter what legislation you put in place, there's still going to be opportunities for people to manipulate the system. And so do we want to spend our time battling, trying to play a sort of chess game with criminals, or do we want to put in a system that gives the public the awareness? That's what I've done. The property fraud alert system notifies everyone of any instance where a document may be filed in their property's name. And I think you mentioned DBAs. As it relates to DBAs, we're actually in the process of creating the system so that a DBA can be filed electronically. However, because it's required to be notarized, we have to have an electronic notarization in order to accept that electronically. But my office is governed by statutes. In this instance, the property code does not allow for electronic filing of DBAs because of the notary. It has to be an electronic notarization in order for us to do that. Once we've implemented legislation to allow for John and Jane Q. Public to do electronic notarization, then we'll be able to do that. Right now, it's restricted to attorneys only. Thank you.
Again, next question is to you and then to Mr. Turner. You've noted many of the changes implementing technology, but what other improvements in staff management and administration can we expect from you going forward?
That is a great question. My office, I have an excellent management team, and what we do for our evergreening process, if you will, we actually query the people that come to my office as it relates to the complaints that they have, the issues that they have, and how we want to address those matters if we can. We don't turn away people. We make sure that even if it's something that's not related to my office, we make sure that we provide them with direct contact for the office for which that issue belongs. One of the things we've just done, and we just republished our website. We have updated our website. If you go to Dallas County's website, you go to County Clerk, and you look at the County Clerk's webpage, and you look at all of the other web pages, you will see a vast difference between how we provide information versus how other departments in the county provide information. One of the things that we do, we always make sure that we stay in close contact with John and Jane Q. Public so that we're addressing the issues as it relates to my office. Like I said, we also put people in touch with points of contact in other departments so that they'll be able to assist those customers as well.
Very good. Mr. Turner?
Could you say the question one more time, sir?
What improvements would you implement?
Yes, sir.
Staff management and administration could we expect should you be elected?
Yes. The improvements I will make obviously is being out in the public. One thing that I am concerned about this city, because this is the city where I'm born in. So you're gonna see me like I've already been in the community. Number two, when a crisis hit, maybe like the pandemic, we don't want to shut all our offices down. What that means is during the pandemic, I was at the county, so I was able to see firsthand how once the pandemic hit, the county clerk's office got out of there. This may not be our offices, but the office that I see, when we were there at a full-time schedule, we were looking over and the county clerk's office was gone. It's just simply unacceptable for a central office in Dallas County to leave in crisis. Crisis is a time for opportunity. And like I said, that's the platform that I'm running on. Also, task force. Probably the number one thing I was asked when I was on the front lines at the county was, where's this office? Where is that office? And primarily it's the county clerk's office. So the information is just not out there. And so we want to get that information out there. We want to tell people where you go and file a DBA, because a lot of people don't know. I heard him say that he changed the website, but when I looked 2 weeks ago, it was saying the Renaissance Tower. And we now know that the records building is open. I went to the records building last week, and you just have no information. It's not, you don't know how to get around, and the signs are not available. I went to the second floor, and it was a piece of paper, probably big as the paper that you have there, telling you where different things at. That's simply not the right thing to do for Dallas. You talk about technology, you want to get the technology to the people. What we know is people use social media. People use the internet. People are outside. People are at all of these sporting events, and they're at events all over Dallas County. Why can't the county clerk be there? What I want to do is bridge the gap to get that information to the people, so it can be the people's county clerk's office. And that's the basically the first couple of changes that I'll make as your county clerk.
One of the questions asked, and then you'll hand off to Mr. Warren. One of the questions asked, it was noted that Mr. Warren had been asked about changing the way his employees are paid. Yeah. So we'll get to you. Okay. He said the commissioner's office is responsible for low pay for the staff. So what efforts are being made to ensure employee retention, given their pay status? Well,
one thing you want to do, you want to bring the employees in and you want to talk to them. You really want to know what's on your employees' mind. I've talked to some of the employees of the county clerk's office, so I know what they're feeling about it. As it relates to upping the pay, what I seen during the pandemic, I hate to go back there. We're still in it, but in the beginning of the pandemic, when his office got out of town, we were asking, our elected official, hey, what are the things we can do? We want to get raises. And then we look around with no county clerk, and we see Mr. Warren in the commissioner's court asking the commissioners for his employees to get paid, but they're at home. So when the people in Dallas County are calling in, they're calling us because we're one of the only entities that's answering the phone. And so what I want to make sure is that my personnel is competent, that we prioritize public value and public service. And that way, when we do go in front of the commissioners, they can see our work. Even in time of crisis, we can be that true essential department that the county needs. And so what you basically need, you don't want to go up there where your apartment is nowhere to be found. You want to go and show them that you've done the work, you're still doing the work, you're committed to doing the work, and you want the people in Dallas County to know for sure that you're doing the work.
Very good. Yes. Mr. Warren. Again, the question was, you mentioned in another forum that the only thing you would change in your office is how your employees are paid.
Well, that's kind of a interesting question, and I'm glad Mr. Turner just informed us that he is totally clueless as it relates to how my office functions. When it came down to the pandemic, the county judge, as the chief executive officer of the county, closed the offices in Dallas County. Chief Justice Nathan Heck, who is the Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court, deemed that courts are essential. While Mr. Turner may not have seen my staff on the first floor, understanding that courts were essential, but the county facilities were still closed to the public. My staff they did part of their work downstairs, they did the rest of the work upstairs where the courts are, which is where the essential work is as relates to making sure the judges had the opportunity to conduct their virtual hearings. That's what he doesn't understand about how courts function. As it relates to, also as it relates to that, my staff has been ready. Since I implemented paperless courts, we already had laptops. That when it came down to the pandemic, there was very little for my office to do. The primary work that we had to do was getting other departments that we work with as it relates to the judiciary on board with doing virtual processes. That's where my employees were. They were not on the first floor because the building was closed. They were up on the fifth floor because, as it relates to social distancing, you had Ms. Petrie's staff who was down there doing theirs, and we had ours, so that we could have the freedom to take off our masks. We move our staff from the first floor to the fifth floor so that they can work. That's to respond to that. As it relates to our staff, I have always advocated for my staff. It would be nice if I can just write a check to determine what my employees get, but that's something that the Commissioner's Court does, and it's been repeated over and over again that Dallas County employees are paid under market. And I have done reorganizations to increase the salary. I had a reorganization on last summer to raise to, and when I took office, I had grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7 clerks. I only have grade 6 and grade 7. The 4s and 5s are gone. That's the compassion I've been having and getting my staff on board with a higher salary.
Okay. One next question, and then hand off to Mr. Turner, and then we'll come back for a closing statement. There's a lot, and you just alluded to this, Mr. Warren. There's a lot of county clerk responsibilities that are behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
Can you share what some of those are and any changes that you might go forward with as you implement new technologies?
That's a very good question. One of the things that we've done, we've worked in conjunction with the county judge, the commissioner's court, the members of the judiciary, the Dallas delegation of the Texas legislature, as well as the Texas Supreme Court and the Office of Court Administration, to look at lessons learned from the current pandemic, to look at what is it that we can do going forward and preparing for the next pandemic. One of the things that is essential that has not been accomplished is the ability to do an entire virtual jury trial in present day. That's one of my goals for my reelection. My background is courts and technology. I've combined those two so that I'm able to accomplish the things that we need to do to take Dallas County into the future. One of the things that we need to understand is that technology changes, business process changes based on what happens in the legislature. We're always on top of those, and we make sure that our processes are in place so that we can accommodate those things. Several years ago, I mentioned that my office has been the first. My office was the first county clerk's office in the state of Texas to broadcast commissioners' court meetings. 3 years after I did that, the legislature passed the law that says clerks can, that it was a requirement for those meetings to be broadcast. The commissioner's court legislative liaison came to me and asked me, what would it take to do that? I said, I've already done that. That has been the common theme across my office. All over. If you ask anyone in Dallas County what's the most advanced office in Dallas County, they would say the county clerk's office. If you ask them what elected official advocates more and engaged more than any other elected official, they will say John Warren.
Mr. Turner, closing statements, and what would you do to improve processes as you?
Yeah, first I want to say Mr. Warren did say that I was clueless. But I honestly, I was there, and I want to be truthful with the people. I was there. They wasn't on the 5th floor. We were literally, when we had time, texting county clerk employees, asking them where they were. They were saying at home. They told us to go home. The only thing people are clueless about is who the county clerk is and what the county clerk really does. And so that's what I want to do. What was the question again, so I can go ahead and take it on home?
Improvements that you would make,
yes, sir,
on those behind the scenes deals, and then your closing statement.
Yeah, the improvements that I'll make is task force number one. One improvement I want to make is having a task force that can answer the phones. Mr. When you call the county clerk's office right now, they'll give you 6 or 7 options. You know how it is when you call somewhere, the automated system picks up. Nobody wants to talk to an automated system. Now, this is not just me talking. When I'm going out on the campaign trail and asking people, they saying that they don't like it. So when I'm telling them I propose a task force of individuals, like at the office I was working, who will answer that phone and send you to the correct department that you need. And so that's just a waste of time. We're going to do away with that. What we also want to do is we want to give that information to the public. The reason Mr. Warren is talking so fast in this time is because people don't know. But we want to, in not just election time, when it's time to come out and get votes. We want to do this for years. We want to do this my whole term, give information to the public, the southern sector, the northern sector, the eastern, and the western. This is the city where I'm from, and I'm passionate about serving the people. You won't just see me every 4 years and me look in the camera and pretend like everybody knows me. I really want to do the work of Dallas County, and I really want to put in the time to make our courts more accessible and our essential documents more available. And also, last but not least, we want people to know where to go. If I ask, do you know where to go to get a DBA? I want the people looking in this camera right now to answer, do you know where to go? Do you know where to go to file for probate court? Do you know how to use e-filing? If you don't, then look into my campaign. I may be your right choice for Dallas County. Marcus Turner, Jr.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mr. Warren? Mm-hmm.
You've heard a lot of interesting things, and but one of the things I have not heard is what is the county clerk, what is John Warren doing wrong? There isn't anything. Mr. Turner referenced that my staff went home. Absolutely, because as I said, they were issued laptops because our office is virtual, so they can go home to do that. We have single mothers taking care of children. When children are sick, when children are out of school, I gave them the ability to work from home so that they can take care of their kids. The schools were closed. You have to be able to have options. This pandemic has been similar to changing the tire while the car is still in motion. That's basically what it has been. You know, you can hear a lot of things, but a lot of it is just mediocre things. When you're running a massive operation, there are a lot of moving parts, and there is no way to predict what's going to happen at any given moment. But as it relates to me, and I always address things as they come up. Mr. Turner's talking about being out in the public. The massive operation that we have does not allow it. I tried that once before. I started doing town hall meetings, I started doing all of that, but when I got back to the office, there was so much work consuming. I was working till 9 o'clock at night. I still do, but because of the technology that I have in my office, I can do it remotely. As it relates to who's the best choice, in this election, you have a proven record. I was appointed by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court to not just one, but two committees, the Supreme Court's Judicial Committee on Information Technology and the Texas Supreme Court's Advisory Committee. I was also appointed by the President of the National Association of Counties to their Finance Committee. When you look at the work that I do on a regular basis in helping the public, because I am a public servant, I'll just walk you through my day. Today, I assisted an 85-year-old couple in getting a marriage license. I worked with a guy for 45 minutes on the phone to solve a property fraud issue. When it comes down to this, you have two choices. Consider me like State Farm. I'm a good neighbor and I'm always there.
Okay. Very good. Thank you so much for our candidates for Dallas County Clerk. Thank you so much. Mr. Warren, thank you so much. Yeah. All right, thank you.